Hi, I'm Jill Michael, co-founder of Kith Kin. Let me introduce you to Rachel, a 31-year-old mother of two whose son has autism and ADHD and whose mom was recently diagnosed with cancer. Rachel and her husband both work full-time, but Rachel also has the unspoken role of caregiver to both her mom and her two boys, playing air traffic control for all the appointments, medications, and reminders, and central intelligence to make sure people know what they need to know when they need to know it. The words she used to describe the situation were frustrating, isolating, and exhausting. When her family and friends jump in to help, she starts texting, emailing, creating shared notes on her phone to try to piece together the fragments of information she's gathered along the way in a futile attempt to download her brain, but quickly falls into that vicious cycle where it's just easier to do it herself because it's too hard to share information and it's too hard to share the load. I'd love to tell you that this is just a fictional story, but unfortunately, it's a documentary on the path to caregiver burnout. And Rachel is far from alone. This is the crushing burden that falls on the over 100 million parents and caregivers at the center of these journeys. They are the glue that fills the cracks in our existing healthcare system, doing any job that's nobody else's job with none of the tools they need to do it. As a society, we've decided it's okay to separate care from healthcare, and we resource one with hundreds of billions of dollars in technology and human capital, and the other with a smartphone, a 3-ring binder, and a patient portal. Look, this is deeply personal to us. I'm the mom of a child with behavioral health issues, and my co-founder's mother is on a chronic cancer journey, but we didn't rely on our opinions to build this tool. We spent over 1,000 hours listening to some of the most emotional user research we've ever done to get to the core of what the human at the center of these journeys needs, and here's the punchline. You are more than just a medical record. As a healthcare system, we spent the last 20 years arguing about how and whether to give people access to those records, but that information is just the start of solving the problem for the human at the center of this journey and the people who form the circles around them. Despite the different conditions and situations, family structures and support networks, cultures and lifestyles, what the person at the center of these circles needs is remarkably consistent. First, they need a place for their side of the story. Over half the information that people are keeping track of lives entirely outside of medical records, whether that's on your smartphone or in that moleskin notebook by the bed. It's symptoms, notes, questions, reactions, reminders, and that information plays a critical role in managing everything that happens outside the boundaries of a traditional healthcare system. And second, they need control. They want our frustratingly paternalistic healthcare system to stop protecting them from themselves. They want a portable solution that they own. They want access to specific information, and they want to determine who has access to what. And here's the thing. That is not an unreasonable request, and it's not an unsolvable problem. It just won't be solved by the traditional health behemoths whose entire business model is predicated on the belief that data alone will fix the system. And while the onslaught of thousands of young and agile on-demand offerings, devices, digital health solutions is absolutely fantastic for increasing access and availability, that actually increases the fragmentation of the information people are trying to piece together. It was hard enough to keep track of my son's health when he went to a pediatrician and a few specialists, but now we've added 2 urgent cares, telemedicine for behavioral health, and separate apps to track his mood and his heart rate. And while all of those absolutely make our lives easier in the moment, they make his story harder to manage and harder to tell. Like millions of others, I need a tool that puts health in my fingertips and in my control. So that's what we built. A purpose-built tool that allows the consumer to own their information and doesn't force them to learn the healthcare system, but allows them to manage health the way they manage life. So go ahead, snap pics, make notes, store documents, and share some information with some people and other information with other people the way you do in real life, because we know that there is no one way to care for the people you care about. With Kith Kin, there's no more fitting that square peg in the round hole. We built this circle for your circle, no matter what that looks like. And we are thrilled with where we are today, but we're just getting started, because let me be clear, I'm absolutely not saying that healthcare data is not an important part of the equation. I'm simply saying that it's only one part of the equation, and that the entire healthcare system has a blind spot when it comes to the rest. We started where we did because the time is right for what we are building now. We intentionally zigged when everybody else zagged to build a solution for the consumer-owned information that currently has no home in any tool first, because even the right solution at the wrong time is still the wrong solution. And just 5 short years ago, solving this problem still felt very out of reach. But the world looks different today. We're closer than we've ever been before to getting data into the hands of the consumer and, as importantly, into the tools of the consumer. Thanks in part to sweeping changes in health regulations, the likes of which this country has never known. And the market today is flooded with companies standing at the front of the line to build those pipelines to ingest and aggregate that data, but nobody's waiting at the end of the line with the consumer. Our big bet is that the company that owns that consumer becomes the ultimate home for the deluge of information at the end of that pipeline. But the impact of what we're building doesn't end there. For decades, the shield of HIPAA has prevented most of the direct exchange between providers and family members and friends of patients. But as long as that information is provided to the patient who chooses to share it, that circle could finally come together within legal bounds for better patient experience and, most importantly, for better health outcomes. We also believe that patient-controlled sharing has the potential to break the gridlock in a system paralyzed by infighting over access to medical records. Over 80% of the information people actually need lies in only 20% of those records. Solutions that exist on the market today are all blunt objects when a surgical instrument for sharing is the right tool for the job. Our co-founders live and breathe the rare combination of healthcare and human-centered design, and our leadership team is fueled by serial entrepreneurs with successful exits, paired with seasoned executives who've built companies and not just products, making us absolutely the right team for the job. And I hope you'll join us. We are on a crusade in a winner-takes-all market to incite an ontological shift in our healthcare system, fueled by the conviction that every person deserves to be a first-class citizen in their health. This solution is a bold step toward carving out and claiming the open space in this industry to bridge the gap between data platforms and point solutions and the people at the center of those systems. Health tech is focused on the medical condition. Google it and you'll find tens of thousands of companies, magazines, and industry groups. Care tech is focused on the human condition. Google it and you'll find a logistics company, an IT consulting firm, and a home health agency in the UK. There's blue ocean here, and a massive opportunity to make a market in which people are not the object of care, but a partner in it. Thank you.